welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're jumping into something pretty fascinating, maybe even a bit dramatic in the tech world.
Yeah, definitely some drama. We're looking at a tech giant, Oracle, and this perception that maybe things aren't going so well for them, and their complicated place in the industry.
Right. And for this deep dive, what's our goal? What are we trying to pull out of the sources here?
Well, the mission is really to look beyond just the headlines. We want to unpack the business strategy, how these tech ecosystems actually evolve, and understand how big corporate decisions really impact innovation, the community, the long game.
Okay, so the why it matters part.
Exactly. Not just the what happened.
Got it. So let's dive in with maybe a provocative question based on what we've seen. Is Oracle dying? And maybe even more interesting, how is it dying?
Oof. Yeah, that's direct.
It sounds a bit aggressive, I know.
Yeah.
But we'll try to be nuanced about it.
Okay, sounds like a plan. Where do we start?
Let's start with Java. I mean, it's been huge. Backbone of enterprise tech for what, decades?
Absolutely. Decades.
Yeah. But you always hear developers grumbling about it. Yeah. Why is it so verbose? Is all that boilerplate necessary?
Java verbosity. Yeah, that's a classic. Yeah. And compared to, say, Python or Kotlin or even JavaScript now, it really is verbose. A lot more typing.
Right.
And historically, that was kind of a design choice. They aimed for clarity, for safety, being really explicit about everything. But that often came at the cost of just writing less code. Brevity wasn't the priority.
So it was deliberate for clarity, but did it maybe go too far? Feel a bit heavy?
Well, for those huge, massive enterprise systems, the argument was, that explicitness helps with maintenance over years. With big teams, you know exactly what's what.
Okay, I can see that.
But for smaller stuff or anything trying to move fast, be agile, it just felt like ceremony. Lots of unnecessary typing, made rapid development feel kind of painful.
Right.
And Java's always put a massive emphasis on backward compatibility.
Which is good for stability, I guess.
Yeah.
For those big companies.
Huge for stability. They don't want things breaking, but it definitely slows down how fast the language itself can modernize, even when they do add new features. It makes change slow.
Okay, so given that wordiness, but wanting to stay on the JVM, the Java Virtual Machine, were there alternatives, things that popped up to fix that?
Oh, absolutely. You've got languages like Kotlin and Scala. They run right on the JVM.
So they can use all the existing Java libraries.
Exactly. Full access to that massive ecosystem, but they just cut down dramatically on all that boilerplate code. Their syntax is much more modern.
And Kotlin especially works well with Java, right?
Seamlessly. That was a huge design goal for Kotlin. Interoperability.
Okay, so verbosity is one angle, but then the Google lawsuit happened. That felt like Oracle shooting itself in the foot, didn't it? Especially for Java's future in mobile.
Oh, the Oracle v. Google case over the Java APIs and Android. Yeah, that was massive. And from a developer point of view, it just felt kind of unnecessary and hostile.
Hostile, yeah.
It created this huge cloud of uncertainty. Like, hang on, are these APIs free to use or not?
Even though Google eventually won, right, at the Supreme Court.
They did. The court said APIs aren't copyrightable like that. But, the damage was kind of done. It made developers really nervous about betting big on Java for anything new, especially outside the traditional server-side stuff.
And didn't that whole legal mess directly push Google towards Kotlin for Android?
It was definitely a huge factor. Google made Kotlin the preferred language for Android back in 2017.
Okay.
Now, Kotlin had its own technical advantages for sure. More concise, safer in some ways. But escaping those potential future legal battles with Oracle, that was absolutely part of the calculation.
So now Android development is basically Kotlin first.
Almost entirely for new stuff, yeah. Java's mostly legacy code in the Android world now.
Wow. Okay, so you have the verbose design choices, maybe making it feel a bit old, and then Oracle's aggressive lawsuits alienating big players like Google. Did Oracle basically kill Java? Or wound it badly?
Killed is probably too strong. Java is still absolutely massive.
Right, in the enterprise space.
Huge. Banking, big back-end systems. It's deeply, deeply embedded. Think of it like a giant supertanker. It doesn't turn on a dime and it doesn't sync easily. Plus, that ecosystem, Spring, Hadoop, Kafka, all that, and the backward compatibility, those are still enormous assets for companies with tons existing Java code.
But it definitely lost ground, didn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Lost the mobile front almost entirely to Kotlin. And in startups, new back-end projects, you see a lot more Go, Rust, Python. Even Kotlin and Scala on the JVM are often preferred now. Java just feels heavy, for starting something new.
Yeah.
So yeah, those design choices prioritizing extreme explicitness combined with Oracle's litigation strategy, it definitely held Java back, hurt its reputation outside its core base, and continues to.
It seems like a focus on maybe short-term licensing or legal wins over the long-term health of the developer community.
That's certainly how it looked to a lot of developers, yeah.
And you mentioned Scala earlier along with Kotlin. Just quickly, what's the difference there? Why did Kotlin seem to win out?
Well, Scala is arguably technically more powerful, even more concise than Kotlin in some ways. Very strong functional programming features, also full Java interop.
Right.
But it has a reputation for being harder to learn, a steeper learning curve, and historically, compilation could be slower.
Okay.
Kotlin just hit that sweet spot. It got the massive boost from Google, making it the Android language.
Right.
And it was designed from the ground up to be a really easy transition for Java developers. So Kotlin became the practical choice, the easy jump. Scala was maybe more for the academic or the really adventurous team.
Gotcha. Okay, let's widen the lens a bit. This Oracle playbook, it wasn't just Java, was it? We saw similar things elsewhere.
Absolutely. It feels like a pattern. Think about MySQL.
Ah, right. The database. Oracle bought Sun Microsystems in 2010, and Sun owned MySQL.
Yep, and MySQL came along for the ride.
So how did Oracle handle being the steward of this huge open source database?
Well, the perception in the open source community wasn't great. It often felt neglectful. Like their main focus was always pushing their own proprietary Oracle database, not really nurturing MySQL itself.
And while that was happening, what was going on with the other big open source relational database, PostgreSQL?
Postgres just kept getting better.
Yeah.
Quietly, steadily.
Community driven, right?
Totally community driven, truly open source, and technically fantastic. Things like its advanced JSON support, better handling of concurrent users, its extensibility. It just pulled ahead. It became the clear technical leader in the open source database world.
So Oracle's kind of lukewarm stewardship of MySQL actually helped Postgres.
You could definitely argue that. Developers and companies looking for a robust, truly open source option without worrying about Oracle's licensing or future plans, they increasingly turn to Postgres.
Yeah.
And you even saw MariaDB get created a direct fork of MySQL precisely because key developers were worried about its future under Oracle.
Yeah, right, trying to keep it truly open.
Exactly. It shows what happens when a company acquires important open source tech but doesn't really embrace the community aspect. It creates a vacuum, and competitors, especially community-driven ones, can thrive.
So the pattern seems to be acquire something valuable, often open source. Then focus on the licensing, the control, maybe litigation, rather than community and innovation. We saw with Java, MySQL. Didn't they kill Open Solaris too?
Yep. Open Solaris basically got shut down after the Sun acquisition. That pushed a lot of those users towards Linux or BSD operating systems. The pattern is pretty clear.
So, given this track record, does Oracle ever change? Is this just who they are now?
Well, under the current leadership, with their current business model, it seems unlikely.
Why is that?
Because their core moneymaker is still locking big companies into those expensive database licenses, application licenses, support contracts. And yeah, monetizing through lawsuits or audits, they're very good at milking their legacy install base.
So it need a fundamental shift.
A massive cultural shift, something like, what happened at Microsoft under Satya Nadella.
Ah, Microsoft. That's a perfect contrast, isn't it?
It really is.
Because you remember old Microsoft, right? Linux is a cancer. Everything proprietary, Windows-centric.
Oh, yeah. They were the evil empire to many developers.
But new Microsoft, it's night and day.
Completely different. They're huge champions of open source now.
VS Code. Everyone uses VS Code.
Exactly. Arguably the most popular editor, and it's open source. They bought GitHub and didn't wreck it. They actually improved it.
Right. People were so worried about that.
And Azure runs tons of Linux. .NET is open source, cross-platform now. TypeScript came from them. PowerShell is open source. They totally flipped the script.
Why? What changed?
They realized that fighting open source was a losing battle, and that embracing developers, building trust, supporting open source, that was actually the key to staying relevant, especially for winning cloud business.
They saw where the puck was going with AWS and Google Cloud.
Precisely. They adapted. They put developer goodwill first. Oracle just hasn't seemed to make that same pivot. Their DNA still feels like license, litigate, leverage, not collaborate and build community.
Yeah.
They just don't seem great at the community part. And when they acquire things, sometimes it feels more about stopping a competitor from getting it rather than really integrating it and making it flourish within their own ecosystem.
Like with MySQL versus how Postgres or MariaDB grew outside their control.
Exactly. The energy, the innovation.
Yeah.
It's happening elsewhere. Oracle's approach often seems to stifle that, intentionally or not.
Okay, so we talked about Oracle's reliance on legacy, the lock-in. And it makes me think of another enterprise giant.
SAP.
Ah,
Yes.
The other beast in the enterprise jungle.
Similar vibes, right? Legacy systems, complex, expensive. They even had their own major run-in with Oracle, didn't they?
Oh, yeah. Big time. Oracle sued SAP back in 2007, I think.
What was that about? Wasn't it pretty blatant? It was. SAP had a subsidiary called Tomorrow Now, and Tomorrow Now was caught, basically, illegally downloading millions of Oracle's internal support documents, software patches, that kind of thing.
Whoa, using fake credentials.
Yeah, using customer credentials, often without permission, to grab Oracle's intellectual property. The goal was to offer cheaper third-party support for Oracle software, undercutting Oracle's own lucrative support business.
So that wasn't like a subtle API dispute. That was straight up corporate espionage.
Pretty much. Blatant copyright infringement, trade secret theft. Oracle was absolutely justified in suing them over that one. It wasn't ambiguous like the Google API fight.
And what happened? SAP lost.
Oh, yeah. SAP admitted wrongdoing, shut down Tomorrow Now. Oracle went after them hard in court. Initially, a jury awarded Oracle like $1.3 billion.
Wow.
It got reduced later on appeal to around $356 million, which SAP paid. But it was a huge black eye for SAP's reputation, and it really showed how fiercely Oracle protects that support revenue stream.
Okay, so they fight hard. But the irony here, SAP, like Oracle, is also known for being, well, legacy heavy and really expensive, right?
Absolutely. Implementing SAP is famously costly and complex. The ongoing costs are huge.
Yeah, I have a friend, CTO, who always jokes, "Where is my ROI, SAP?" He's constantly asking that.
Yeah, that sounds about right. It's a common sentiment. The TCO, total cost of ownership, is massive, and the payoff can be elusive or take a very long time.
I mean, technically, what's under the hood at SAP? Isn't there a Java connection?
There is. A lot of SAP's core stuff, their big ERP systems, run on Java and ABAP.
ABAP. What's that?
ABAP is SAP's own proprietary programming language, and it's old. Really old. People often compare it unfavorably to COBOL in terms of being kind of archaic and difficult to work with.
So modernizing SAP systems is hard.
Incredibly difficult and expensive, partly because of ABAP and the old Java stacks they often use.
Okay, so you've got this weird parallel. SAP is stuck with its own legacy tech debt, ABAP, old Java, and its reputation debt from the Oracle lawsuit and the high cost. And Oracle's stuck with its legacy tech debt, maybe Java verbosity, the stagnation of things they acquired, and its reputation debt from all the lawsuits and the focus on control.
It's a fascinating parallel, isn't it? Both are titans, both rely heavily on inertia and lock-in.
Lock-in, that's the key, right?
Absolutely. Migrating off a core Oracle database or a massive SAP ERP system, for a big company, that's a multi-year, potentially 9-figure project. It's a nightmare.
So sticking with them is just
easier.
Safer, career-wise?
It's often seen as the safe choice, yeah. Even if it's painful and expensive. Nobody typically gets fired for choosing IBM back in the day or Oracle or SAP now, even if better, cheaper options exist.
The inertia is powerful.
Incredibly powerful. So Oracle sues its competitors. SAP gets sued for basically cheating. It's kind of grimly funny.
If they ever merged, supportarily.
Oh, God. That would be the ultimate vendor lock-in monster.
Their slogan, "Pay us forever, or your entire business turns into a pumpkin at midnight."
Nightmare fuel for CIOs everywhere. But yeah, the insight is how these legacy giants are kind of bound together by their old tech, their business models, and the sheer difficulty customers face in leaving them.
Okay, so pulling it all together. Oracle's approach to Java, to MySQL, the lawsuits, the SAP mess, the contrast with Microsoft. Where does that leave us on the original question? Is Oracle actually dying?
You know, dying still feels a bit too strong, maybe fading, or becoming less relevant, especially for new things.
Okay, fading relevance.
Yeah, because those legacy systems, they're not going away tomorrow. Banks, governments, huge global companies, they've got decades of Oracle built in. That keeps the lights on and the revenue flowing for a long, long time.
But for new projects, Startups,
Yeah.
companies really trying to innovate.
They're choosing differently. Almost always. They're picking Kotlin or Go or Rust for building services. They're choosing PostgreSQL for their databases.
Right.
They're building on cloud platforms like AWS, Azure, GCP platforms that embrace open source. Oracle Cloud is, well, it's a distant fourth, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely not leading the charge there.
So Oracle isn't leading in the growth areas. Their grip loosens a little bit every time a team chooses Postgres over Oracle DB because they trust the community model more, or MariaDB over MySQL because they don't trust Oracle's plans,
Or Kotlin over Java.
or Kotlin over Java for a new mobile app. It adds up. The future really does seem to belong to those more open, community-driven, developer-friendly technologies.
Okay, so prediction time. If you had to bet on the database for the next, say, 20 years, forgetting the legacy inertia, just based on merit and direction, what's your pick?
Oh, that's easy. PostgreSQL, no question.
Postgres. Why so definitive?
Postgres is it's the GOAT. The greatest of all time for relational databases, maybe. It's the quiet giant, understated, incredibly reliable, rock solid.
Yeah.
It just keeps getting better year after year, driven by a genuine open source community. There's no vendor lock-in fear, no crazy licensing audits. Technically excellent, handles complex workloads, scales well, has amazing features like that JSON-B support, and this huge ecosystem of extensions. If you need something specific, chances are someone in the Postgres world has already built an extension for it.
It really flew under the radar for a long time compared to MySQL.
It did, kind of the unsung hero. While Oracle was making noise with lawsuits and licenses, Postgres was just building the future reliably.
So definitely not Oracle DB or MySQL under Oracle.
Not for new projects if you have a choice. The trust just isn't there for many people, and the cost, the licensing headaches, why deal with it when Postgres is so good and truly open?
Okay, I like it. Postgres is the G.
Pretty much.
Right, speaking of Oracle's approach, I have an idea. I'm going to get one of those fortune cookies, right? And I'm going to write my own fortune, stick it inside, put it in an envelope, and mail it, maybe Postgres it, anonymously to Oracle HQ.
Huh. Okay, I'm listening. What's the fortune going to say?
Something like, your license fees look great. The Museum of Technology History.
Ouch. Savage.
Or maybe just error 404, future not found. Because, they're the only Oracle that seems blind to the future.
That's brilliant. Though, knowing Oracle, they'd probably try to patent fortune cookie analytics and then sue the bakery that made the cookie.
Probably. Or they try to text Gemini at 3 a.m. asking for strategic advice.
And Gemini would either ignore them or charge them like $50,000 an hour for the consultation.
Exactly. Maybe the real fortune should be error. Moral compass not found.
Okay, now you're just being mean.
Maybe a little. But the moral of the story is clear, right?
Which is?
Don't text your AI or your cloud provider at 3 a.m., especially if you're Oracle. You'll probably get ignored or charged a fortune, or both.
Sound advice. And maybe a more serious takeaway.
Yeah. Bet on open source. Bet on the community.
Bet on the elephants.
The PostgreSQL elephants. Love it.
Wise words.
All right. I think that wraps up our deep dive into Oracle, Java, SAP, Postgres. Quite the journey.
It was fascinating, yeah. Lots of interconnected pieces.
Definitely. Well, thank you for listening to The Deep Dive. Join us next time for another exploration. Until then, keep coding. And maybe try to avoid those Oracle dependencies if you can.